Gates Road is like any other street. At daytime, it's filled with people living normal lives and heading to work, school, or an event in town. But as the sun sets, darkness falls heavily on the neighborhood road, and an eerie silence stands over the residents like a prison guard. The street is held hostage every night by this darkness, and the throne that holds dominion over this small town road is the Elric House. Few speak of this home, and most try to avoid thinking about it. However, one evening as the sun began to fall below the horizon, a young man named Jeremy sat at its edge. Jeremy was just old enough for a license, but not old enough for the black cherry zin in his pocket. He stood at the large wrought iron gate to enter with his trucker hat and jeans covered in old oil stains, but his white t-shirt crisp and fresh. Jeremy had heard stories of this place before. Stories of murder, suicides, and occult ritual. But as he stood at the gate to enter, a sincere effort was made to forget those stories.
Don't be a puss.
Called out Don from several feet back.
Screw you, I'm gonna do it, and you know the deal. I get the car if I stay the whole night, right?
Dude, it's a rust wagon. All yours. But first, you gotta do something really stupid for me. Go in and don't come out until the sun is up. You also have to bring me a souvenir from inside, so you actually have to go in.
Don listed the rules and then pointed at the group of teenagers behind him.
And keep in mind, a few of us live on this street, so we'll know if you leave.
Jeremy had no intention of leaving. His dream car was as good as his, and he wasn't giving Don any excuse to back out. He even typed up a contract with witnesses and planned on taking pictures all night. As he turned back to the house and began to push the door, he threw his Zen packet in his mouth and shot the bird at his spectators. The gate opened with a loud groan, and he stepped in. The house was larger than any other on the street and took up multiple lots. The two-story home stood like an ivy-covered stone, clearly an older house that refused to bend to Mother Nature or Father Time. As he pushed closer to the home and grabbed a quick selfie for evidence, he heard the group behind closing the gate. He was a little annoyed, but refused to lose a bet to Don, when all he had to do was go into an old house, grab some junk, and wait a few hours. He took a deep breath, sucking in black cherry scent like a vacuum, then made his way to the front door and pulled a flashlight from his bag.
Alright, just an old house.
As he turned the iron knob on the heavy wooden door, he had to put all his effort into the push, and when it wouldn't budge, he threw himself into it with a charge. But as he made contact, the door opened with almost no effort, sending him rolling into the foyer, kicking up dust and echoes throughout the empty house. After standing from his fall, he noticed the house truly was empty. No classic old furniture covered in old sheets or pianos rotting in the corner. After pulling out his fully charged phone, he took a selfie of the open door to document. He propped the door open and set about the house, flashlight in hand. As he walked deeper into the maw of Elric House, a sudden loud noise crashed through the home. Jeremy jumped and ran for the door. As he reached the foyer, he found the door closed tight.
Very funny, guys. I'm supposed to do this alone.
He said this, but the thought of anyone opening that gate again reminded him of just how loud it was. No way someone came in with him. To calm his nerves, Jeremy popped another black cherry Zen and proceeded inward. He found nothing in the first floor rooms except for a locked door by the stairs. Avoiding any vandalism, he proceeded to climb the antique marble staircase. So far, he was empty-handed. Jeremy would only be successful if he could find something interesting, so just in case, he twisted off a crystal sphere on the banister and continued upward. After reaching the second floor, Jeremy saw what looked like a flickering light coming from underneath the closed door. A little spooked, surely no one was squatting here, but to be safe, he took advantage of the old-school keyhole in the said door. Peering through, he saw darkness, so thinking it must have been a trick, opened the door. The black of the room was unsettling. He shined his light inward, and it seemed to not go as far as it should. As the light reached the window, Jeremy stopped cold. In that window was a shape of pure shadow that light couldn't penetrate. It turned, and a whisper came to Jeremy's ear.
Thief.
Jeremy froze.
A thief must pay in flesh.
The creature with flaming red eyes was suddenly halfway to him, gliding across the floor. Jeremy bolted, his legs pounding into the ancient wood floors like pistons. Once he reached the stairs, he barely touched the steps before landing on the ground level. The boy moved like a flash to the main door, trying to escape whatever that was, only to find the entrance blocked by another shadow. It glared at him with glowing crimson eyes, and saw deep into him. Jeremy spun on his heel and immediately went deeper into the house, looking for another outside door. Once he found an exit, he was sprinting to freedom.
What the hell was that?
As he crossed the front of the house, he saw the window at the end, light pouring out, but more importantly, the silhouette made by the light. It was the shadow, peering outside. He immediately jumped against the wall of the house and saw the cellar door. He couldn't risk whatever or whoever that was seeing him, so he slowly opened the doors, trying not to let them groan from lack of use. As he descended into the bowels of the home, the flashlight went out. After some fidgeting, he found his phone and turned the light on. His battery was at half.
How is it at half? I just charged it. And the flashlight, didn't I just replace the batteries?
He calmed himself and moved toward the other end of the cellar. There was a door, and it was slightly open. His hope was that anyone or anything looking for him would search outside. Jeremy sat down. Maybe if he waited until sunrise, whatever he was experiencing would go away. Looking around the cellar, all he could see was the door next to him. Curiosity eating at him, he peeked inside. Keeping the light low, he examined the room and found it empty like all the others, except for something concerning. On the walls and each floor were painted circles with stars in a strange language. But even more concerning, they were freshly painted, with what looked like blood. Before he could back away, he heard the familiar creaking sound of the cellar door being pulled open. Not waiting, he saw another door well hidden in the low light at the other end of the room. He charged for it and found it already slightly open. After crossing its threshold, he realized it was the locked door from earlier.
Screw this place.
He barked as he put all of his stamina into reaching the front door, now unguarded, and nearly flew to the front gate. As he pulled the gate just enough to let himself out, the loud groan echoed once again throughout the quiet night as he slipped into freedom. Just a few paces from the gate, he pulled his phone up, losing the bet but not caring after what he saw. As he was about to make a call, he noticed the battery was almost dead, and suddenly, the flashlight on it went black. Jeremy paused quietly, noticing just how quiet the street was.
Thieves must pay with flesh.
The next morning, no trace of Jeremy was found. His family searched, but nothing inside or on the grounds of the Elric House. Dawn and the others said he must have left. The gate was open after all. No one ever heard from Jeremy again. Not the town, the other teens, or even his family. But every once in a while, when someone is dared to stand by that gate, or a reluctant teen goes inside the grounds, people all say, "Why does it smell like black cherry?"